Surprise, motherfucker.
Yes, guys, welcome to the most must-see show on Cardiff City World. Nay, it's Podcast Nation. This is your Flower Hour. I am Rob, Mr. Flower Hour Boyle. I am privileged to be joined by Mr. Evan James, who has, for a fact, more appearances than Mr. Vincent Tan. How the devil are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, thanks. I just realized as well in that intro, I had to laugh because I have like family and friends watching this, and it started with a surprise mother, and then I realized I forgot to say it's probably PG-12, but yeah, I'm doing well. I was trying to hold my laughter in then.
I do apologize.
It's good. It's all good. I told her, but no, I just find it funny because the topic we'll probably talk about today is a bit more serious. And I just had to laugh thinking who we are.
I know. In our defense of Flower, normally we go past 9 o'clock. But we've made a thing the last couple of days now where we've gone at 8:30 for various reasons. So I do apologize if
I'll put it this way: in every PG-12 film, you're allowed one F-bomb, so that's that one done. So you're not allowed now for the rest of the show. Only you can use the S word whenever you want.
Class. No, thank you so much, mate. I know everyone was probably expecting to see the bald-headed demon that is Mr. Matthew Angel with the tie-dyed beard, but it is me, the one with authentic dark beard here this evening. Angel's been working about 25 million hours a week, so I volunteered as tribute to come and do 3 in a row because I am that kind of guy, and I couldn't miss an opportunity to do one-on-one with you, mate, to be honest, because like jokes aside and whatnot, obviously I joined you and Ange for a couple of shows when I was away in Tenby a couple of weeks ago, last week. So I'm looking forward to some new time, my friend. So this evening, plan of attack is obviously get your comments in and whatnot. So the motive of this evening is we want to talk about that statement. So what I'm going to do in a moment is going to read out the statement from our, I would love to say, fearless leader, and I would love to get all of your reactions, Evan. I know, mate, you're busting and to have some words on it and basically pick it apart, have a little chat about it, and wherever everybody floats their boat, we go from there. So, without further ado, let me just quickly grab it up here. So, in response to growing fan discontent, Tan said in a statement on Tuesday morning, I wish to acknowledge the open letter that has been issued by our Supporters Trust. We hear your words and I share your hurt and frustration. Not all decisions when it comes to first team have worked as I'd hoped. To lose our place in the championship is upsetting. The important thing is that we regain it at the earliest opportunity. And I would like to take this chance to tell you that I am committed to getting us back. A period of review is being undertaken. A permanent manager and management team will be appointed in the coming weeks. As a point of developing strategy, our board of directors have begun internal discussions with executive management and staff to strategize and plan for the summer and new season. Tan has also hit back at critics, many of whom have questioned his level of interest in the team's fortunes over the last few years. To say I don't care is wrong. I strongly push back on that, he added. I watch every game and speak to the board and manager before and after each one. My family will tell you I kick every ball. We have enjoyed good times together. I can tell all Cardiff City supporters that it is my intention to support correcting the situation we find ourselves in. I want to pull us all in the same direction. I will make every effort to be in Cardiff at the next opportunity that my schedule allows. I am sorry that we are where we are this summer. It is now time to rebuild. Thoughts?
It is so much you can pick on and unpack, really. And I think the recent week or since we've been relegated, I've had a lot of time to digest just the idea that we are going down. And then I think, I'm not sure when this was. It was fairly recently, was it less than a week ago that he posted this statement, I think. But it was kind of, you had 3 different letters, isn't it? What was it?
Yeah, so this one I'm looking at now is Tuesday. So apologies if there's been a different one as well. But this is
I've
the
got
one.
it up here, yeah. I've got all 3 of them. So, because you had
Sweet.
the recent one was the Supporters Trust, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, well, we'll just dissect it from the top, really. You know, when he says like, "We hear your words and I share your hurt and frustrations," I'm thinking like, that's like a copy and paste bit of text, first of all. But I understand, what else can you say? And I tried to sort of think in the mind of Tan as well, of like, I'm sure he does care to a certain extent about the club, because I mean, obviously the financial side you'd have to anyway, because why else would he still be here, right? He would have sold, and you know, there's no saying that he has to be at the club still while that court case is going on. However, it probably is a contributing factor to it. But I just think that if it's come to this, if it's come to League One to sort of like come to this realization, and I still don't fully believe that he's fully behind this project rebuilding, because every decision has to go through him, but yet he has probably the least involvement in the club, which almost makes no sense. And I understand it, like, you know, he says to say I don't care is wrong, and I strongly push back on that. I think he does care to an extent. He's just that clueless of how to run a football club, to the point where he feels like, oh, well, you know, they're fans, they don't know any better. Because I'm involved in this football club, I obviously know more than them. And that's probably the mindset he's come from. He probably does care. It's just that he's not putting a great image out there. And for the lack of response we've had for other things, even the other season where we should have been relegated, but we stayed it for point deduction, they almost seemed like, oh yeah, we fought hard at the end. Well, yeah, we did, but we still would have been relegated. And what happens if we got relegated then? Because we would have probably still had that transfer ban or whatever that was, that embargo. And I just think we can't do the same thing again. And I know it's kind of like, what else can you say? But at this point, I have no confidence in them to do what I feel is right. And again, what I feel is right could change. But I just think, because there's no football in structure, until they get a director of football or someone else in the club that doesn't have to run every decision by Tan, I'm not going to be confident about our future. And this has been a realistic point, as much as I want Cardiff to go back up and finish the title. So, yeah.
So, talking about director of football, mate, we've spoken about it on a few shows. I think I've spoken about it for the last few days now on these shows. Steve McPhail. That's a name that's been touted around for the last few days, couple of weeks maybe. Do you, in your opinion, do you think that's an option? Do you think that's a plausible option that could be a thing? Or do you think it could be just a flash in the pan name thrown about.
I think it's going to be one of those like people like he gets advice from kind of at the club where he's not going to have a proper salary, proper job, but he'd be working on like a part-time basis of like getting advice from him. Because I think the problem is, right, once you have to put every decision through to the highest orders, I understand some of them you're going to have to, but when you can't let the football people do the football stuff unless they get confirmation from mum and dad all the time, it's not gonna run that well. And I think this is the problem, is that he's so fearful of letting go control to someone else. Even if he gets someone else in, he's going to make sure that every decision goes through him, even if it doesn't involve a transfer fee, even if it doesn't involve anything that massive. And this is the thing, see, is like if Stephen McPhail would happily work under Tan under his strict laws and whatever, then fair enough. But I feel like it's going to be more of like this group of people who we don't even know about, who are making decisions. They're probably not really getting paid to do much. I mean, what was that thing about getting that painter in to be like a director of football or whatever? There was his son's. I recently read about that. That was crazy. And to think like because he lost trust because the two people he hired. Okay, first of all, Ian Moody, fair enough. Okay, sometimes it's just you just miss the dartboard, right? But that's not to say you stop throwing the darts. You just continue throwing. You're gonna get good numbers, but it's just you can't like go one traumatic experience and then stop that for the rest of your life, because that's going to be a big part of this club. And again, I just think that no matter how much they want success for the club themselves, there's certain things that Tan, I believe, is just not going to let go of. And it's been shown for the last 5-6 years, and even since I support this club, which is probably just over a decade. The way I see it, it's like things haven't changed, even in the way we play games as well. I just feel like whenever we're winning 1-0 and waiting for us to lose 2-1, it's like these are things that we've had across. We've had a whole reset of a squad a couple of years ago. We're going to probably do another one now. But I only really recognise 3 players, Rawls, NG and Wintle, I think, when we had our last squad refresh. I didn't recognise anyone else. But yet the same problems happened of where we couldn't hold on to leads. We couldn't really play possession football. We've always been counter-attacking. These are part of the club identity, and certain things that also, like positive and negative, I feel like we'll just repeat the definition of sanity. It was inevitable we were going to go down at some point, and that's how I see it. But again, I think it's until I don't think that we are going to get a director of football. I think we'll get the next best thing, and it'll just be another reason to, call out Vincent Tan and everything. That's what I think will happen.
So I gotta be careful what I say for the sake of the channel as well.
Yeah, allegedly as well.
Yeah. But rumor has it that a certain part owner wants Tan to walk away so he can take more ownership of the club. Do you think if that was the case, that would improve things, or do you think that we would be better off just rip the plaster off?
Toss a coin at this point, isn't it, really? It could either get much better, much worse. We don't realise that we are literally a club because of Tan, because he's still investing money. The problem is with Tan is that he knows he's investing like $5 million a month or something, but it's like he's chucking it all down the drain. So it's like, yeah, he's keeping the club afloat. And I guess someone who's experienced, has been here for a while. But like, it's the same thing that you could have someone working at like, oh God, I'll get to that in a second. Oh God. I'm also trying to thought now.
Sorry,
I saw you smile. I was like, I had to look at that. Yeah. I just think at this point, it's like we're in sort of too deep, and whichever way we go, whether we go for a new owner or not, it's just going to be a toss of a coin at this point, because it's so hard to call. I think the one thing is, right, we all have hope that if a new owner comes in, they'll be the next best thing since sliced bread. It's not always the case. You see so many clubs where they get new owners in and they're wishing the other ones back in, It's only really the likes of Wrexham and Birmingham are kind of doing the right thing there, and they're both going to be in the Championship next season. So
100%. Like, it is, like, to play devil's advocate, if you like, it is. Some days the better the devil Like, we could. There's a lot of horrible owners out there. And let's make no mistake about it. Tan has put some money into the club. let's be real. Yes, he has done that. And I think the thing is, the reality is, we'd be in a completely different position if he had not tried to run with things himself and with his little carny crew and had people around him, like a Steve McPhail, for example, like a director of football. They just try to play football manager. And the thing is, they relegated that. What's that team called? His partner team? I say he relegated them. His other team got relegated, didn't he?
Kortrijk.
Yeah, they got relegated as well, didn't they, this season?
Oh, I think yeah. I forget there's more than one division to Belgian football. There's about 3, but like you only really see like the first division that's actually like broadcasted. So yeah, I think it was. They sacked that Alexander Frey Alexander guy, didn't they? I'm not sure who else they got in, but I think it was too late by then.
Sorry, I know what I'm talking about. Rob.
Oh, you're good.
I know your daughter sneaking past your back room like it's a horrible. You know what, right? Like I'm going way off topic. So, like, oh god, when last Halloween? It was the year before, and we done a Halloween party down local rugby club for the kids, the boys, like a football team, and we booked an entertainer and things like that. And my daughter, like, I do lots of you have never met her before, but she's like, buttermilk sort of thing. And the entertainer goes like, to the people, the kids up in the upper stage and stuff, like, what's the scariest voice you can do? So my daughter has the mic and she goes, I can see you. And like, I was literally by the door, like I was doing raffles and whatever, and I was saying, who the fuck is that scary? My daughter, and she was only like 6. I used something like that. Oh god! And you know what? I know it's completely way off topic.
No, I like these little nuggets about it. You know,
oh, it's like it just gave me a flashback, and like me in the coaches at the time here, like we looked at each other, like, what the hell is that?
It had to be Rhys making the comment about it. I wondered who said that about daughter.
I know it was just my little girl, like who's just a psychopath who's going to kill me in my sleep. Anyway, I digress. What other thing I want to talk to you about is carbon copy. So much has been said about the statement that was released from TAN, which isn't too dissimilar to the Premier League relegation statement. Thoughts on that, if you have any?
I haven't seen the Premier League relegation statement, but as I'm guessing with the carbon copy, it probably is quite similar. I mean, let's not kid ourselves that most owners, right? Maybe not the recent ones, like in case of Wrexham, but most owners, being they've done that, it's kind of media trained answers, isn't it? It's just like press conferences. It's like I got so I'm no disrespect, but I got so bored of watching Rhys's press conferences because everyone was such a same. At least when Errol Bullet had his, whether they were positive or negative, it had some drama or some kind of like character about it. I mean, to be fair with Rhys's, it's kind of like, it felt like he became a lost man, but you could tell that you have all these media trained answers, and I felt like these are kind of the things to expect. That you're going to say like, oh, we're disappointed. We hear you, fans. It's always that one. We hear you and we see you, and even though you probably don't because you never turn up to the stadium, but you watch every game, kick every ball, and it's like, I never take them too seriously because I know they're going to be the media answer. It's just that. What else can you say? I mean, your club's just be relegated. I mean, at least if you put an effort in, you could say like, we give it all a fight. But we generally haven't. We've been the worst team by far in this championship season. So, I mean, what else could you really say? I suppose.
I want to digress just ever so quickly on this comment here. JWall TV, welcome, my friend, QPR fan. What about your recruitment when you signed an injury-prone Chris Willock? So this is what I'd like you to answer as well, my friend, the gentleman commented. So at the time, unless I was just through smoke and mirrors, the QPR fans were in uproar. The fact that Willock had left and come to us. Now, was that just smoke and mirrors, or was it a case of he is that injury prone, etc.? I mean, we have a sensational habit of signing injury prone players. El Ghazi, prime example. And I gotta be honest, when we signed him, I thought, sweet Jesus of Nazareth, I thought we've pulled a blind here, because I thought he was going to be the guy to take us up. I was such a big fan of him when I used to watch him at Villa and things like that, and I thought he's going to be class. Willock obviously not being fancied until Ramsey come in. I started fancying him a little bit. But yeah, like, I don't know if you've seen it as well, ever, mate, but when Willock left, I thought the QPR fans were in uproar.
They literally said, downgrade, he's gone to Cardiff City, it's a downgrade. I was thinking, what do you mean it's an upgrade? And obviously, but I was just thinking, like, why come to us? And I think the only sort of reason I thought was Aaron Ramsey's contacts. He thought, well, I get to play with Aaron Ramsey, even if it is just a couple of games. Because everyone seemed like he had those connections. Bullet brought in, obviously, the Greek duo, Siopis and Goutas. I think that might be the season before, to be fair. But you still had that kind of like, it was different players, and it was nice to see. And again, with the Willock and El Ghazi, the two players I was most excited to see, especially El Ghazi, the biggest two disappointments of signings. Right? And again, it's nothing personal against these players. I feel like I have to say that, because I'm sure they're absolutely lovely to hang around with. And I think Chris Willock, when you see him, he looks like a guy who just, well, I think in some press conferences, people have said about him, he just puts his head down, he's quite quiet and to himself. And to be fair, I admire that in the play in some ways, so just gets on with it. But I just, whether it's a quality issue or if they're just scared they're going to injure themselves, or whether they literally can't work any harder, but I just see nothing from them really this season, apart from maybe glimpses from a couple of games. But I'm just thinking, obviously QPR let him go knowing something, that maybe he was only going to succeed so far. The only reason he came was for the money. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know, but why go to Cardiff?
Money we got though, obviously we do have some.
You could have gone to Leeds. You could have gone to anywhere else. You could have gone to Burnley. You could have gone to Leicester or wherever. You couldn't go to any other championship club that were way better. We had a fluke 12th position season last year. The season before, we would be relegated. So whether it's because we finished that 12th position, but I don't know what we must be doing if it's purely because of money. That is bad management in general, really.
So I know we're massively digressing, so I do apologise.
No, you're good.
As you all know, how much of a fan I am of these duo. And this is not just for you, for those of you in the comments as well. You know how much I wanted my predictions over the season, with the flower hour predictions, 2-1, Cardiff to win, Dimmy and Seal to score. Do Cardiff stay up if Seal was still here? Not just for you, ever, mate, but those in comments. Welcome, Sarah Love. Thank you for joining us again. Do we stay up if Seal is still at the club?
I think no, because we had enough, allegedly, we've had enough bad influences or bad personalities in the dressing room, and one more positive face or personality wouldn't have made as much of a difference. You can see the players like Callum O'Dowda and Rinomota and some other players as well, who really shown the attitude of what it takes to be a Cardiff City player. And I feel like, unfortunately, they were kind of outnumbered by the amount of people who either weren't bothered that much and just there to pick up the paycheck, or two, they were actively playing a bad part in the dressing room. And again, this is allegedly, because I don't know who, I don't know how many, but it's evident. You can see that, obviously, everything's not A-okay in the dressing room. And I think, especially when you lose your manager or when you even lose the fans, that's a really demotivating thing. So as much as I'd love to say Seal, because I felt like he was a vibe. Back when Jamilu Collins was first signed, even, when he came back from his injury, he was such a big vibe. And now I feel like he's probably leaning towards, allegedly the other side. Because, well, you think about how much game time he's had, literally barely any. It was only when he complained that Bullet actually gave him a game. And then after that, he still fizzled out. So it's interesting how fast, how quick. Again, I say Callum Robson's another one. I really love how passionate he was about the club. Every time he scores, you could see it. And he's quite goofy and all that. And I quite like that because it shows he has kind of like a non-serious side to him. But unfortunately, because he hasn't really hit the consistency, whether it's injuries or falling out with other people, I just don't think he would be the kind of person that would want to even play League One, So I'm not sure. And it's, as much as I love like Dimi and CEO as a duo, I think when one of them left, it was kind of evident that the other one was going to follow soon, or at least fade away. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and as you all know, those of you who watched the Flower and the channel that show that's on a Saturday sometimes, whatever it's called, with Rhys and whatever his name is. I was always been a massive fan of them too. Like I just fell in love with them. I love their personalities and yes, I know CEO wasn't the greatest footballer of all time, but I just loved what he was about. And I don't know if it would have made a difference, mate. I don't know whether you have CEO still playing and Alan Wick in goals, which is a question I brought up as well. No, he's right, Martin. You're right, mate. And I think I need to take my blinkers off, my friend.
But he had that Soul Bamba energy, I found. He had time for everyone. Like, I watched the preseason games, and he was holding, like, some people's kids sometimes. He was, like, saying hello to... And let's be honest, his English wasn't amazing, but you still laugh when he cracked a joke. And it was that kind of energy we had at the start of the season.
And I think that's what it is, mate. And I think maybe he just won me over just because of his personality and just because... he was a bit of a freaking psychopath, like I think as well, and maybe that's what it was. And yeah, I know he's not the best thing in the world, but I think he loved playing for Cardiff, mate. And I don't think anybody can doubt his commitment. And I just was a big fan of him. But they weren't like saying I think they would have stayed up if he was. It was just a bit of a question I thought I'd put out there, and because I'm gutted I never got my banker of my guess of 2 on Cardiff, CEO and Dimi to score.
I would love to see CEO to score so much.
Mate, do you know what? And just a little bit of a segue. I follow him on Instagram, and he's got an email address on there. So I'm not allowed to mention him directly. So I emailed him, but he's not replied to my email, and that was like January time when he left. So fucking, he's dead.
I have a strangest thing, right? There's probably a couple others of me, more the youth players, but I have friends who know like City players, especially more the youth players. I had Dan Ola follow me once, which I thought was quite interesting. And I was like, oh, okay. I think I shared a post about him. Or I thought, I think he's one of the players that really needs to get, not just because he followed me, but to get like some game time while playing. But another one was a really odd one. He's at Flamengo right now, but I can't remember his name. I don't want to get it wrong. I think he's a Ukrainian guy. He was our lead scout following me for some reason. Cardiff City's lead scout at the time was following me on Instagram, which I thought was a massive privilege. And he probably might be watching this video now. But I was thinking, like, why are you following me? Like, this is way before Cardiff City World. But yeah, it's a side tangent.
Get him on the channel, my friend.
Oh my god, he's in Argentina now, in Flamengo. That's incredible. How is it? Like,
I will go through the comments in full in a second, but hi, well, as Rhys likes to put it, I feel for Rob not being able to celebrate a 30-yard top bins goal from CEO. Mate, I've had many a wet dream about that, my friend. I can promise you that. Honest to God, man. All right, where we at? Just jump in some comments. I haven't got a mouse, so I'm just using me touch screen. Let's have a look at some of our little badges. Christ, Lord, you will be busy.
I've got it on the side as well, mine. Obviously, I can't get them up, but I can still read them.
Hey, don't be ashamed if you can't get it up, my friend. Right, what we do? Louise, do you know what? Was it last night on the patron show the other day? We were talking about you. I thought I haven't seen you for ages. I was making sure you were still around. Yes, lads. Daniel Richards. Hello, my friend. Paul says, mixed bags regards to statement. If this happens, structure gets put in place and the right manager staff brought in with a change in player recruitment, then we move on and support Trent Water. And by the way, Martin, lovely to meet you, my friend, at Lewis Night. Quality, later actual physical face to a name on here. Trent Water, that statement, he wants to see the interest. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Season tickets. Wasn't the prices announced today? Or
Yeah. So it's not. Oh, you can't get them yet. But I think it's it's Tuesday that they go that you can get them from. I think it's an early bird discount. Is it? Or am I making that up?
Yes, that is right. I haven't seen it, mate. Have you seen the prices?
Yeah, but to be fair, I got to be honest. I haven't had a season ticket for a while. I've kind of just gone to games here and there, so I can't really remember. The last season ticket I had was in the Premier League, and the season before that as well. That's when I proper got into Cardiff. Because before that, I kind of just go to the odd game, mainly because I watch it from home anyway. It's just for me, it's so expensive to get it. Not just a season ticket, but just like trying to park and everything, and it's like. When you're in the seasons like these, it doesn't really convince me, as someone who's, I'm a Cardiff fan, but like some a lot more diehard than me. And I think that's where the board kind of lose us really, is the somewhat casual fans that go. You lose a lot of them, especially when you go to League One. So I'm not sure. From what people are saying, we're the fifth cheapest in League One apparently for season tickets. But that's what some people have said. Probably still expensive. I'm not sure.
Yeah, obviously, co-host of a couple of the shows, Angels. He doesn't like to tell you all. He's a season ticket holder for the last couple of seasons. He goes with his boy, I'm very aware it's quite very reasonably priced in fairness compared to others. I think there's a comment I can't find at the minute, but there was. Looking through the comments and make me chuckle. I think it's like 80, 90 quid, something like that. He pays for his boy for a season.
For kids, 79 for kids. That's what Gavin's saying.
Oh, it's class.
Yeah.
That's quality, guys. That's quality. And
10th of May they're out, apparently.
What's that? Sorry.
Sorry, it's apparently the 10th of May that they are out. I'm assuming the season ticket things. That's what Gavin says, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's been one of those, I think, that I don't think we knew really what was going to happen with the tickets. I was expecting to hike them the fuck up, like, to be honest with you, mate. I just want to jump to this a second. Sorry, I do apologize, everyone. I'm yo-yoing because I'm literally.
No, I like it. It's a freestyle session. Don't worry. It's all good.
Oh, mate, it's all unhinged when you're on with me, my friend. Jeff, my good friend, my Irish friend, Jeff. If my fellow comes in, he'll bring Stephen Bradley, the Shamrock Rovers manager, with him. Bradley's an employee of Shamrock, so no contract to pay out. Interesting. What, Jeff, if you're still, I know this was a little while ago, Jeff, my friend, what is Stephen Bradley all about? Do you know much about him, my friend? If you can enlighten us all, what the crack is with him, I'd be good to know. I'm getting a mist. I want to start earlier. What we got? Levi says it's Ramsey's fault. It is Ramsey's fault. He's a problem, and he should be banned from walking into Cardiff Centre ever again. Rhys Evans says there's a pill for that, Evan, when you can't get it up.
Oh, God. I was like ages ago now. I was like 10 minutes ago. I feel like his ship sailed in, Rob.
Rhys, he's finally managed. Actually, I better be careful because I don't know what age your family's watching along. So we'll leave that.
It's too late now, Rob. Don't worry about that now. It's gone 9:15 now. So
it's fair game now. Yeah,
well, I won't encourage it, but anyway.
Gavin says 79 for kids. Welcome, Gavin, mate. Good to see you on here. Ramsey making more to making vodka. 10 for me. Yeah, this one, Gav, mate. Price increased.
69.
We got 264 for you, Marty, my friend. Apparently said, I don't think Alex Robinson.
Got confused.
Hey, what's happened there?
Alex Robinson.
What's happened there?
I think he meant Callum Robinson when I was talking about him, maybe.
Or it could be Alex Robinson, though, as well, mate.
Could be,
because he's not looked the same since, for me, since he got ill.
Yeah.
He's miles off it. He's one of those ones. And, I've spoken to his uncle a couple of times back and forth when he first joined Cardiff and bigging him up and whatnot. And this is not me poo-pooing Alex Robinson by any stretch of imagination, but he did not look the same player when he came back from when he was unwell. And it makes you think, is there more to it? And maybe it's none of our business. Maybe it is.
Not to chuck more fuel to the fire, but I think Simon briefly mentioned allegedly that it might have been some personal issues related to it, and that's as much as I'll say. I don't know much more than that. I just slightly more specifically, but I think that has had an effect. Let's not forget as well, like to show the character that Rhys and Rinomota did as well. With the hardships. I mean, I'm not saying this is what's happened with Alex Robertson, but like to think like that and to come back from that, it takes a lot of strength. I mean, to get physical strength, mental strength to go through that and be there. So to be fair, I'll give him a bit of sort of like, leeway. So like, okay, he hasn't been there, but his injury came fairly well around midway through season, and he's been well off the mark. So I don't think that's him, because I saw him when we battered Plymouth 5-0. And he was my man of the match because he scored first, I think, but they couldn't get the ball off him. He was literally like prime Iniesta in the middle. I've never seen a player with such good like ball control and just like whipping it, passing and getting assists. And like from that game onwards, he kind of fizzled out. But at the same time, we've had so many different midfield partnerships as well. That probably doesn't really help, I suppose, because he hasn't really had the consistency, has he? As soon as he gets consistent, he's either ill or injured. So I don't know whether you'll be here next season. I'm not sure. I would like to keep him, but I'm completely fine at the same time knowing that he'd probably go somewhere else.
Interesting. Where are we? Yes, the QPR fan. Thank you for this. This was a little while ago now, but thank you if you're still knocking about, my friend. What Cardiff missed this season was a calf. Or Kev McNaughton. Mate, yeah, do you know what I mean? We can reel them off, the players in my lifetime, the leaders. You look at Kev, Witts, Cav, Andy Legg, Scott Young, Morrison, Bamba, Pearce,
Gunnarsson. I mean, there's the last person you want to start a fight with was Gunnarsson. Like, he was,
You could name 10 off the bat without even blinking an eyelid. Hell, I'd go even Marshall, Neil Alexander. Do you know what I mean? There's just so many Willie Boland, Gavin Ray, Stephen McPhail, hell, Joe Ledley. Craig Bellamy. Look at these big names that we've had, like leaders. Not all of them have been captain ever, by the way. And they're just very authoritative figures. They ain't got a shout. It's not about being a shouter, but they lead by example. For a fact, they walk on that pitch and they'll leave it all on that pitch. Blood, sweat, and tears. They'll run through a brick wall for you.
I was literally going to say. Sorry, go on, finish off.
No, go on, my friend. You're fine. Like Hudson, another one. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, the way I put it is, I always think in my head, right, leaders are people where if you looked at them and thought, like, if there was a burning building, they wouldn't even think twice. They'd be in that building and save everyone else. That's what I think of when I hear those players' names. I looked at Premier League season. We had undoubtedly, maybe Huddersfield or Fulham at a time, but we were probably the second worst squad in the recent Premier League season, without a doubt. Right, we didn't have amazingly talented players, but we had a bit of magic now and then. But the one thing we did have better than most teams was that underdog spirit, that fight in us, that just like said, you know what, we knew kind of like, right, we're probably not going to stay up, but if we aren't, we're going to give 150%. And that's exactly. And Warnock was the perfect manager at the time to have, because whilst I really hated the long ball, hoof ball, whatever, I think I didn't appreciate it enough. Thinking like, but the squad of players we got suited it, and it's been so long since we've had a squad of players that suited the style, and it's like, yeah, exactly. I mean, like,
mate.
yeah, it's class, and I just thought of it now when you mentioned his players. You know, I like to see, right? I'm torn on Nathan Jones. I know he's doing well at Charlton, but him with Sean Morrison as assistant manager, because I know Sean Morrison said in an interview once that he would love to come back and play like a coaching role somewhere. I would love that, because I feel like Sean Morrison, again, he's really young, obviously, but it's just like you just bring back that former captain who was like, I really didn't appreciate Morrison enough when he was captain, because I thought, oh, he's really slow and all that. He doesn't really attack. He only goes up for corners. But I didn't appreciate him enough then, and now I realize when we lost him, oh wow, we just lost like one of the biggest leaders for the club, at least since the time I've watched it. I just feel like if we need an experienced first team manager, there's no like putting any young manager who's not tested. We can't risk that. But I would like someone young next to him with that Warnock fight in them. You know, I just feel like we missed that for the last 2 seasons.
No, I think it's sorry. I'm listening. I am listening to you. But
no, you're good aside.
No, but no, you're absolutely right, mate. Jeff follows up about the Bradley comment. Bradley, sorry, beg your pardon, has been with Shamrock manager for 7 years. He was approached by Millwall this season to replace Neil Harris. There's a knack of spotting top talent in Ireland trying to play nice football. Yes, and I've watched. Was it the Europa League or the Conference League? Shamrock Rovers were in.
I couldn't tell you.
One of them. I watched them because I obviously pay my subscriptions to TNT and whatnot, so I can watch.
I tried all together now.
On a very verified channel, I can watch them. And no, they class. They play class football, mate. They're so good. Where are we to? Don Cowie, of course. How can you forget Don Cowie? Gary O'Neill, Chops, Casper Schmeichel.
There's the Stockport manager Dave Challinor who's linked with the job. Though him and Nathan Jones apparently are the top 2 sort of like likelihoods at the moment. Or well, I mean Stockport. I mean they've done really well this season. I think they're in. Oh my god, they're actually 3rd, and they were 5 points behind Wrexham. To think that 2 seasons ago I think they were National League, it's insane. Like, I don't think, again, I don't know any one of their players, but they must be doing something right, because, again, you don't really need a really good squad. What we try to do is we try to get all the biggest names, but people who haven't barely kicked the ball for ages. And that you could say like that, it's like, you know, it looked as if like we were a League 2 side this season, even though we're trying to justify to everyone else. Yeah, but look, we've got Willock, we've got El Ghazi, we've got these players. But other teams are going like, yeah, but you're bottom. You know, it's like, it's frustrating because you want to convince people, say, yeah, we've got a good squad. But then it's like so many, say, worse quality teams or like people who think are underperforming, they're doing so much better because they understand the style of football they want to play. We're trying to play Man City possession football when we're not Man City.
Yeah. Quick one for you. Manzovic, success or failure?
I say success. I think he's been better than what we've had. I think as a loan signing, you think like you can't expect too much. Yeah, I think this season anyway, the CEO kind of faded out a bit really fast. I think he doesn't have as much. He kind of has similar energy. I think CEO, he could run on a pitch for 500 hours if you let him. But I think Mansberg, I feel like he's quite unorthodox, isn't he? The way he runs and everything, and he's not got much like meat on his body, but he's very physical. I think Sio, I find it quite similar, but the one thing that Mansberg has is that Sio doesn't, is that just that ball control and the dribbling that Sio didn't have. Sio was literally just supposed to sit in front of the defense. That's it. Mansberg can kind of play a number 8 as well. I think, if anything, he's probably better as a number 8 than number 6, purely because Chambers can't really attack. So I think he's better than number 6. But I think he's been a success. I don't know. Maybe injuries kind of let it down a little bit. I just had some shaky performances, but I would love him back. But there's no way with that wage we're gonna get him back in. I doubt.
And I'd argue, obviously, he played at Ajax. He did well. Obviously, it may be different to see him in a different environment, but I don't see him personally, in my opinion. I don't see him as a top-end footballer at the moment. Maybe
he won't play for Ajax first team, that's for sure. I can't see him.
No, I think he's miles away from that. I know it's Dutch league, but the standard is better than what it has been. I don't think he's good enough to be in that team, in that first team. I wouldn't be comfortable as an Ajax fan if I'm having him as my centre mid in a Champions League game against Barcelona, for example. I think there's better options out there. But yeah,
I think he would do well in like a. I wouldn't be surprised if he came back for another Championship side on a permanent, like a Middlesbrough or something. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, Wrexham. But I think Wrexham would kind of just go for the big names with people coming either towards the end of the career or the youngsters. But I think I could see him back in the Championship. But I don't know. I can't tell if he really enjoyed his time here or if he didn't. I don't know. Is an odd one because I think with Alves as well. I think. I say he's only really young, but I think he was a bit of disappointment because it's the all fart no poo thing, right? He had all the dribbling and everything, he had the pace, but it was either coached out of him or he just had no end product whatsoever. And I felt like that really hurt us. But I don't know. I guess at the end of the day we got relegated, so I mean they weren't really the saviour, but it was a lot to ask for, isn't it? In a few months.
Wrexham was kind of Ghazi.
No, Wrexham are too good for him, so.
They'll go and sign Keanu Tete instead.
Vardy. Oh no! Oh, I forget we're gonna have him back though, and he's probably. Oh, I'm sorry, Keanu. Right? I'm sorry because I know probably some of them probably watch us in private, and they're probably so tempted to leave a comment, but they know they'd probably get fined or something, right? And probably Rhys watches this as well as like his evening meal. But I generally can't see Keanu Tete playing again. That number 9 shirt's going to Salek. I tell you now, because if he's not getting the number 9 shirt,
mate, you're in safe hands here now, mate. You're protected.
Yeah, I'm still on probation.
Hey, nobody on social media ever says anything horrible about any people.
Oh, no.
So you say...
No, but yeah. I want to show that it's like, look, I'll keep my door open in case I ever get the manager role in front of me. Just like.
Mate, I can. There's 2 things I can guarantee you. One is that Carl and Grant will never sit in the same room as me because I think somewhere down the line last season, somebody's got back to him and he hates my fucking guts. And 2, don't worry about it, my friend. It's all good. Right, before we start the wrap up, obviously get your questions and comments and things like that. While I'm doing so, obviously don't forget, obviously it's been going across the bottom of the screen for the last 45 minutes, whatever it's been. Like, subscribe, share, for the price of a pint of coffee, pint of Carlin. Yeah, why not?
Cup of Carlin.
You can become an acepodcastnation member. Obviously, get access to live events. You've done the Glen Louvens last week, which was mint. He's the most beautiful smelling man I've ever smelled in my life. I can't even begin to tell you how beautiful he smells.
Behind Callum Robinson.
Oh, mate, honest to God, he smelled lush. And
They always do though. The best players. I could smell one in the stadium. I could smell Alex Robertson and Callum Robinson from where I was at, and it was like I think because I watched View from the Ninian as well, and or maybe Rival Show. I'm not sure, but I remember. I know Rhys watched them as well, so don't feel bad. But I know that Ben James was saying like a lot about like I could smell Callum Robinson. I saw him at the train station once. You could smell it for ages, and it's like. You could tell that it's probably like a 500 pounds fragrance. So I'm thinking like, oh, side tangent. But yeah.
Oh, mate, he's mint, mate. Like he's class. Like such a nice guy.
Yeah.
We had a good conversation with him before the show, and during and after as well. And he's class. Like so, massive respect to him. So yeah, don't forget to register and whatnot. I love. Obviously, seen her in the background. She's not just a record for those of you who may have said before. See, she's not hidden away in a cupboard. She's real. She's come through the door there. So back you.
It's a daily allowance.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I know that's a daily allowance of air. Coming up. Oh. I didn't know what's coming up. Simon is bodying well. Shots fired, Rob. I know. Simon's not very well, so we're obviously doing what we can as a group. We've got a good family here, so we'll do what we can to make sure that the content is flowing. Massive, massive thanks to you all in the chats for the interaction on a Thursday evening, on a warm Thursday evening. Is much appreciated. I know you were expecting to see the bald Shrek that is Matthew Angel, but you are lucky to have me instead, the bronze god that is me, Rob Boyle.
I'm Rhys David Evans from Wish, I am, so.
Nah, bruv. He's Evan James from Wish, mate. Let's tell you all right now.
Also, I sometime next week, Saya said I'll probably have a video of mine up as well. I basically gone through a full half-hour video tier list of 39 players, the Cardiff City squad, who I'd keep or I'd sell or I'd loan. So it gets interesting. I'm expecting very, very opinionated comments, and I encourage it to be fair because I'm quite strong on how I feel about certain players. But yeah, that will be coming up as well. So yeah, just so you know that I feel like I've held on to a lot more players than I should have because I still feel like we got a good core squad. We just missing those few things that will make everything click, and a manager and a football structure in place, and probably 5 other things as well.
Just a
little, like, just you know.
Wait, do you know when that's dropping yet, Ev?
I don't. I think it's a Tuesday, but it'll be sometime during next week. But it's always obviously pre-recorded, so it'll just be a premiere. But you know, I always forget sometimes. I join and I leave a comment, even and all, and no one's there to respond to it because it's not live. But yeah,
that's mate. We can't wait for that. Literally. Honestly, and thank you again because you've been
thank you.
Massively welcome addition to the club and to the team. It's been mint, fitting like a glove, my friend. Like Kanga in front of a goal.
Oh, I mean, he's my idol. I always want to, you know, as I say idol because he's more like a statue to me than he was a player. So, salute.
Nah, mate, class. Thank you all so much for joining. Lots of viewers this evening, lots of comments, so thank you all so much. Apologies, I've not been able to get through all. But if you can all like and share, subscribe, and do all those shenanigans, you know I'm not very good at doing all this promoting shit. But thank you all so much for joining. I bid you adieu. Oh, and before I forget, massive shout out to Flower Seniors who won the double this weekend, won the league and the cup, and massive big shout out to Third Release in the 13s who won the league this evening as well. So Flower, massive. Peace.
Swagger down the street. Lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.